1895, the coal mines came alive, bringing hope to the mountain folk and their kin. They prayed every day, and blessings came their way. They saw it as the coming of a friend. But there's secrets buried deep within the mountains, according to Widow Valentine. She told me of the day, and it starts out this way, when they open the Stevens deep gold mine. It always grieves me so to think about that hole, the very place my daddy lost his life. In veins 3 foot high, they worked by carbide light, toiled in the dark so we could heat the night. The timbers cracked, it's caving, boys, and it all fell down upon them. Those who lived will remember for all times. Miners paid the cost, many lives were lost, sacrificed for the Stevens deep gold mines. Now it's also plain they worked right through the pain, but they didn't see the coal dust in the air. On their hands and knees and hurting swollen feet, how could they know that black lung lingered there? But then our tools made to use to gather up the treasure, and not to count the days or mark the time. When all the veins ran dry, they came out toward the skies. They closed down the Stevens deep gold mine. All been left alone, you never would have known, except for the scars and the people on the scars on the mountainside. There's nothing left to fear, and the rivers all run clear. The rattlesnakes have many a place to hide, but there's hope that someday history will remember what was gained at such an awful price. The only things that remain are the blood, sweat, and the names of the workers and the Stevens deep gold mine.
Did you write that one?
I don't know if that, no, actually I did write that with my buddy. I thought you said, did the dog write that?
Oh, I did the dog write that.
You said, you finally got it right. No, yeah, Steve Hilton and myself wrote that song. His family, coal miners out of Beckley, West Virginia, and my family, coal miners out of Frog Level, Tennessee. Y'all know where that's at? No, it's a place called Pruden, Tennessee, and it was named that. It was Frog Level, everybody knew it as Frog Level because it's between the mountains and it's right beside the creek. And they just named the area Frog Level. It never really was unincorporated and didn't even have a sign that said unincorporated. It was just a wide spot in the road. But when Thomas Pruden brought his coal company from England, he set up shop there, and it was a big deal. I remember asking my grandmother about the coal mining industry, because you know, everybody knows what they know about the coal mines now because we know this side of everything. You know, black lung, my grandfather died of black lung. My mom's dad would have. He was already kind of sick, but he was underneath the church with a good friend of his. They were on their way to work to the mines when the only tornado came through there and knocked the church down on top of them.
Oh, boy.
So,
Saved.
and then this is the first song that was ever on the bluegrass radio charts for me. It came out in 2002, and the day that this, well, a couple of weeks around the time that this song came out and was on the radio, there was a mining disaster in Pennsylvania. So my timing wasn't great for that, but people had a guy email me from Pennsylvania, said they really appreciated the song, helped them to kind of get with what they were dealing with. So, but my mama, she said, it was great. We didn't have anything. We were living off the land. We had to take the wagon and go over to Pineville or Millsboro or Jellicoe to get, not Jellicoe, but Millsboro or Pineville, to get what we needed for groceries and things, you know. And that was a long ways with a horse and wagon, and the roads weren't really built that well. And so I remember Papa would, early on, he would walk to work. You know, he'd walk to the mines and work however long it was on his hands and knees, and he'd go home. I was sitting there on the front porch. I was about 6 years old. I remember him walking up on the porch carrying his dinner bucket, and he, everywhere on him was black because he had been working in the mines. He came up there on the porch, he patted me on the head, hey buddy, and he walked over and sat down in the rocking chair. Mama already had a galvanized tub full of Epsom salt water. And you know, he soaked his feet, he rolled his britches legs up, he had overalls, and right in the corner of where the window was, the bump out for the window, there was a long neck banjo sitting there. And I didn't even really recognize it until he picked it up and he started doing, see if I can do a little of this. I'm a free little bird as I can be, free little bird as I can be, sitting on a hillside working for the day, and there's nobody cares for me. I didn't even know he played. On my record, Second Son, do you have that copy, Ross?
Yeah, I do.
There's a picture inside of my grandfather standing in the garden with that banjo.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
But I saw that at 6 years old, but what really got me, not only did I see him play banjo and sing, he just come home from work after working, I don't know, 8, 12 hours, however much he was. He looked like he'd worn out, but he was an older guy then. And you know, when you're 60 years old, when you're a miner, you look a lot and act a whole lot older than you do if you're working in a printing press or something, right? Or you know, balancing books at the bank. It's a harder job, right? And they were on their hands and knees almost all the time. They had a canary in the mine so that if the gas got bad, the canary would die and then get out, right? That's the stuff that was happening. And I remember him coming home soaking his feet. Mama brought dinner out to him, and he'd sit there and ate, dried his feet off, put his boots back on, went out in the garden, started working in the garden. And I thought, man, that's hard work. And I was 6. So when Steve and I sat down to write that song, his family comes from Beckley, West Virginia. Here's an interesting story, and I don't mean this to be like a diatribe or a speech, but it got me on it, so thanks, Ross. But Steve's family comes from Beckley, West Virginia, the Beckley mine. And after, so you know, when they work a mine and they get rid, they call it the veins, they get all the veins out and then they leave, right? They leave the mine open a lot of times, especially in the mountains. Well, in Beckley, it was in kind of near town, and so what they did was they paved over, they blocked the entrance, the original entrance to the mine, so that kids or animals wouldn't go down in there. But then, 20 years later, they dug another hole and started selling tickets for people to go down in there and see what it's like. Well, that's, you know, kind of, you know, I guess entrepreneurial, is that the right word? They were gonna make money with it anyway, or at least they thought they were going to, but the coal miner families were like, no, they didn't like that at all. So Steve and I sat down to write it, and that's both of those ideas was in our minds when we sat to write that song. And it turned out better than we thought, but there's so many songs written about mining. Some of it, you know, kind of romantic about it, others just tearing it down. What Steve and I wanted to talk about, we approached that song as like, what if a reporter from Chicago, New York, LA, Knoxville, wherever, what if they went in there and asked people, widows, what they thought about mining? That's what I did, I asked my grandmother. And so that's how that whole story came. And so Widow Ballantyne is a fictitious name. I looked it up in the area, there's no Ballantynes in the area, at least there wasn't. And also, there was no Stevens Deep Coal Mines. So we did our due diligence not to, and back then, we wrote that, well, we probably finished it in 2000 and recorded it and it came out in 2002. I don't know that it even had I may have had yeah, I think I did have a computer. Whatever research I did, we did everything we could to make sure we weren't plagiarizing any names or anything. So the next one's gonna really be sad.
You know, Jim,
Yeah,
when you invited us out to the Gallagher guitar,
yeah,
okay, we met Steve.
Yeah.
Gene and I met Steve.
yeah.
Wonderful guy.
He's a good songwriter. I'll do another one he and I wrote. If you guys want to hear something different, let me know. I mean, I don't juggle, like I said, but this is a song that Steve and I wrote. You know, my dad told me a long time ago that people like music, a lot of times the way that the timing and the rhythm of the music is because it kind of somehow or another mathematically or whatever melds with their heartbeat. And somewhere in them, it kind of rhythmically works for them. Sometimes it's just the lyrics, sometimes it's the guitar, like for me and you, maybe Ross, the guitar grabs my attention, like Day Tripper or whatever. But if you think about it, sometimes the way our hearts work with the music kind of lends us a little closer to it. So, and my dad said, you know, when you have somebody you love, you have this heart rhythm that kind of goes together, like a mother and a son or a daughter, or a father and a son or a daughter, or whatever. And I thought, that's pretty interesting. Is that the right key? I haven't done this one in a while, but this song's been on my heart today. So we sat down to write this song, and it's really about how we are with our family and loved ones, that somewhere there's a rhythm that we have together. It may not be heart, it might be biorhythms, it could be hair color, I don't know. I think this will do it, we'll see. Missy Raines and I recorded this on our 2 CD. As a child, when I skinned my knee, I'd go running saying, Mama, come see. And with a kiss, she'd make everything alright. Then I run happily out of her sight. I felt but never knew the rhythm of two hearts. Oh, now, Grandpa, through your eyes I see the wisdom of your years and advice you've given me. I think I found someone you said would come along, setting my heart beating to a different song. I think I feel it too, the rhythm of two hearts. It's like something that you can't see, like the wind blowing through autumn leaves. It's a feeling you can't explain. The one thing time doesn't change. Lace ribbons twine through your soft auburn hair. Your eyes are telling me to kiss you if I dare. And as I press my lips to yours the first time, something is telling me you'll always be mine. I feel it now with you, the rhythm of two hearts. It's been a while since I've done that one. I'm sorry. It'll get better.
Her applause.
That's her applause. Oh, yeah.
Deep River
Let it rain, let it pour, let it rain a whole lot more. 'Cause I've got them deep river blues. Well, let the rain drive right on, let the waves sweep along. 'Cause I've got them deep river blues. Well, I've got a gal, she's a good old pal, but she acts just like a waterfowl when I get them deep river blues. Well, there's no one to cry for me, and the fish all go out on a spree when I got them deep river blues. Well, I'm going down the muscle show. Times are better now there, I'm told, 'cause I've got them deep river blues. Well, now it's time to say goodbye, and if I say, brother, let me die, 'cause I've got them deep river blues. Well, let it rain, let it pour, let it rain a whole lot more, 'cause I've got them deep river blues. Well, let the rain drive right on, let the waves sweep along, 'cause I've got them deep river blues. Hey, it's okay if they clap for me, brother. Anyway, let's see, I had one I was going to do before Steve's Deep Coal Mines. I've got a new album coming out next month, I think. So it's called Travels in Time, and let me see, what am I going to do here? I was going to do another song, now I'll start talking about the album. I've got a bunch of, you know what, I'll do that one first. I've got some guests on this album, but most of the album is a core group of people. Christian Ward on fiddle, Michael Geisbacher on bass, Matt Wingate on mandolin, and Kyle Triplett on banjo. But there's other people that joined, including Sean Lane from Blue Highway came in and sang on one. Tim O'Brien came and sang on one, and he played mandolin and sang on another one. And so I've got some different folks. Alan Mundy came in and recorded with me. You guys, do you know Alan Mundy? You guys know who he is?
Yeah.
Do you know he plays guitar?
Sure.
Well, I didn't know what he played. I mean, he's
He
like
plays
the
banjo.
father of blue, you know,
Yeah.
well-known and
Yeah, he's one of
play
the,
song collector and
yeah, yeah. Well, he's a banjo player, I mean, that's how
Oh,
people
that's
know of
okay.
him, as a banjo player. He played with Jimmy Martin, he played with a bunch of different people. But I was at a music camp in Texas and teaching guitar, and he was there teaching banjo, and there was a bunch of others that were teaching different instruments, right? This was in Arlington, Texas, and it was hotter than two hells down there. Hotter than here. We were in the parking lot, and my shoes were sticking to the asphalt, and I thought, okay. I looked at my phone, it was 108 degrees in Arlington, Texas, and we were in the sun, and I thought, we need to go inside. But anyway, so I come down from my class, it was like in a gym, it was a church, and where we were was like the event kind of building. So upstairs from the auditorium gym was the classrooms. That's where all the classes were being held, with the exception, I think one or two was held in a different building. But I come downstairs and I hear this jazz guitar and upright bass, and I'm thinking, that's not coming out of speakers, you know? So I kept wandering around, following my nose, walked into this closet where they roll those big banquet tables and they put them in the closet. Well, all the banquet tables was in on the gymnasium, right?
Oh,
And sitting in there was Alan Mundy playing jazz guitar.
all right.
And Alan Tompkins playing bass with him. And I'm sitting there and he's playing like Wes Montgomery with a bare thumb. And he's killing it. And I just want to pick up my gun and shoot the headstock off that guitar, but only because it was so good. And Alan's such a nice guy, and he would never tell you that he's a great, just, you know, you wouldn't. So that just blew my face off, as they say in the South. And I thought, man, one of these days I'd love to sit. So we jammed at the end of that camp. We was able to sit around with Tim May and Alan Tompkins and several of us sit there, and we played a bunch of songs. We played like, I don't know, Sweet Georgia Brown, things like that. You know, we just had fun. And so later on, I asked him, I said, Alan, would you be interested in recording guitar with me on the album? He says, well, it depends on what it is. I said, how about Back Home Again in Indiana?
There you go.
And he said, I think so. How fast is it? He said, I'm not a fast player. I said, we'll get it at our speed, you know, his and mine. Man, he came in and it was just so awesome. So I'm not going to do that here because I need a whole lot more help. But he is such a phenomenally gifted musician and such a great guy. And he's one of those people that everybody respects him, not because he demands it, but because his talent and his personality. He's done so much for bluegrass over the years. He was part of the formulation of Camp Bluegrass down in Levelland, Texas at South Plains College. And last year was his last year. And I was able to teach down there with him too. So
We retired. He retired.
he retired from that. He's still playing.
Yeah. Has he ever recorded his guitar before recording with you?
That was it was his first recording.
Oh, wow.
So here's another interesting fact. Get to know me, I'm here all day. Here's an interesting fact. I asked him if he would, and he said he would, and I just like, wow. He said yes, right? But Mom always told me, they won't say yes if you don't ask. They might say no, but if you don't ask, it's definitely a no.
Exactly.
So he said, yeah, he would love to. So I sent him the song, and he said, yeah, let's do that. So I asked him if he has a guitar that he wants to bring. He's driving, he was coming through with this banjo from, he lives in Missouri now. He come from Oklahoma, he lived in Texas for a while, he's in Missouri. And he was going to do a camp over in the east, like Baltimore or somewhere. And he said, well, I'm gonna come through, I'd love to, maybe we could do that recording. I said, I'm happy to. I'd already done the track, so he was coming in to overdub his solo on the tracks for Back Home Again in Indiana. And I said, so did you bring a guitar? He said, well, I got my dreadnought style. He said, but I said, well, do you want me to try to find an arch top, you know? So he said, that would be great. So I asked around all the people. One guy has a really nice Ibanez, like Joe Pass, Ibanez, what Joe Pass played, he has one of those, but it was in the shop and it wasn't going to be out. And then another friend of mine had an L5, a Gibson L5, but he sold it.
Oh.
So everybody else had versions of things, and I thought, so I got on Facebook Marketplace. I'm looking around. First of all, I'm a broke musician, so I'm looking for affordable instruments.
Yeah, right.
So I found this Harmony arch top. It's not a cutaway. It's got the trapeze tailpiece. It's not a fancy. It's real basic. But I got it for $350.
Whoa.
And I thought, I've got $350 in it. If anything, if it don't work, maybe I can turn around and sell it for $350. I don't know. So then I took it to Danny Roberts of the Grascals. He used to work with Gibson. He worked with Gibson for decades. And I said, hey man, do you think you can look at this guitar? And I took it down there to him, and he said, yeah, I'll work on it for you. So, you know, it had those big block inlays, you know, the way those old jazz guitars had. Big wide, like inch by 2 inch or whatever, and maybe a half inch by an inch. And they were all in those frets, right? So Danny's trying to dress the frets, and he's doing this. He's using just sandpaper in the block, and he goes up there, and he said, next thing you know, all the inlay was gone. And he said he picked up sandpaper, and it was all tape. All those inlays were just So he said, when it first happened, he goes, oh my God, you know, he's thinking, I've just ruined this guitar for Chip, you know, and they called me up and he's laughing. He said, I got to tell you, man, he said, I took all the inlay out of that thing. I said, really? He goes, yeah, it was tape. It was shiny, kind of iridescent kind of tape. So he got it really working well. He had the back was coming loose, so he had to glue that. He did some work. So I took it to the studio and I played it. I got it at home. It's a good little guitar, it really is. And so Alan played that solo on that guitar. When he got done, I said, Alan, will you sign this for me? So he signed Alan Mundy right here. And I told him, I said, you know what I got, don't you? He goes, what? I said, I've got the only one in existence, the Alan Mundy Signature Series Harmony Archtop. Yes!
Got to be worth more than $350 now, too.
It's worth more than that to me.
Yeah, definitely.
So the other thing we did, after we got done with that, he said, you know what, you and I should do something like this. You sit here and I sit there, and he said, let's just do something like that. So we came up with this song, and it's kind of similar to Back Home Again, but we co-wrote it. It's called Naked Thumbs.
Oh, Naked Thumbs.
Nekkid.
Oh.
We don't have a thumb pick. He don't wear a thumb pick, and I didn't.
I got you.
And it's a fun little track.
Naked Thumbs.
If no other reason, you need to buy the new album for that. But I think it's going to come out maybe August, you know, sometime next month. I sent an email to the guys at Pine Castle, but it was Friday evening because I was wanting to know that for the set, you know, and the 2 sets at the festival and also for tonight. But if you get on my newsletter, are you guys on my newsletter or mailing list? You are. It's easy, it's cheap, don't cost you nothing. Just go to jimhurst.com, put your name and the thing that says sign up for Jim's mailing list, put your email address in there. You'll get a confirmation email so nobody can sign you up for somebody else's mailing list. You'll get that and you'll be on my mailing list. And I send something out about, I say once a month, but it's usually 6 to 8 weeks. And I need to get better at that. But you can do it without the images. You can open it up in a browser. And so it only comes from me. Nobody else sends it from me. So I invite you to do that. You'll know more about what the crazy. This one's on this album, but it's with other musicians, including Tim O'Brien on mandolin and harmony vocal. Ought to been uptown when that old train come down. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. Oh, oh, me, oh, oh, my. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. Train and he put it on one track and he drove it to the Lord knows where. Oh, oh, me, it to the Lord knows where. Trying to read this letter from my home. Oh me, oh Lordy mine, trying to read this letter from my home. And he put it on one track, and he drove it to the Lord knows where. Oh me, oh Lordy mine, drove it to the Lord knows where. Oh me, oh Lordy mine, drove it to the Lord knows where. I recorded that song as an instrumental for David Grisman. That's another interesting story. I don't know how much time you want me to go before we take a break.
Whatever feels good to everybody. I mean, this is loose.
Well, I'm a little looser than I want to be, so I'm out here on the West Coast. My buddy Mike Wilhoit, who lives in the Bay Area, he comes from Ohio, and he and I and my brother and a friend of ours used to be in a bluegrass band in Toledo area of Ohio, and it was called the Raisin River Band. That's a river in the Monroe County of Michigan area that Tim lived near, Tim Ellis, who used to play banjo with Jim and Jesse. And so we were in a band together, and so I moved to Nashville. Mike moved down here to Sunnyvale, and he became a cryptologist, and he was part of the people, his team with Texas Instruments when he moved to Texas Instruments. I think it was Texas Instruments. They came up with the WEP, wired equivalency, protected kind of, what do we call that, security. And it was his team that came up with it for, I think it was Texas Instruments, it might have been something else. But he worked for Boeing and worked for Texas Instruments, he did a bunch of stuff. So I was out here and I went to visit with him, and we drove down the Pacific coast. Went down to Big Sur, we went through Carmel, all that stuff, right? Is that how you say it, Carmel? Yeah. In Indiana, it's Carmel. Yeah. But of course it don't look like that anyway. But we're on our way back to San Francisco, and I had met David Grisman, the dog. Met him at Bluegrass at the Beach, which happened up here at New Halem Bay.
Yeah.
Right? And I was there, I taught there 3 or 4 or 5 years maybe. And he was the legend at camp one year. And I got to sit there and play some of that dog music with him and Todd Phillips and a bunch of us sitting there playing all that stuff. I don't even know it, but I was happy to sit there and play chords, So anyway, I met him then, and so he calls me up on the phone. I'm taking Mike back to his car. And my phone, I had iPhone, early iPhone. I think it was iPhone 4 or something. And it comes up, David Grisman. I'm like, I looked at Mike, I said, of course we both know about David Grisman. I showed him, I said, look at this. He goes, David Grisman's calling you, dude? Yeah. So I said, hey man, Jim, is this you, Jim? I said, yeah. He said, hey man, it's Dog, man. I said, hey David, how's it going? He said, I'm good. Where are you, man? I said, I'm south of San Francisco. I'm taking my buddy back home to his car in the San Francisco area near the Golden Gate Bridge. He goes, well, good. What are you doing afterwards? I mean, it's like 11 o'clock at night.
Oh my God.
And I said, well, I'm going to my hotel room. He says, you got anything going on tonight? I said, no. He said, well, I want to see if you'll come and record a solo for me.
Wow.
Well, I was doing solo work. I'm doing like this, right? So in my head, I'm going, oh, okay. I said, I was thinking, though, they wanted me to do a solo on an already recorded song, to overdub a solo. I said, hey, yeah, I'll do my best. And he said, I'll send you my address, just come on up. I said, well, I don't know what time. He said, don't worry about it, I'm here. So I dropped my buddy Mike off, and he said, man, you gotta let me know how this goes. He had to get up in the morning to go to work. He said, I don't care, call me. We were in David's studio. I arrived at his house, and his studio was in the garage, modified garage. And the recording that I did for his Tone Poets album was that Rubens Train, but it was kind of weird. I can tell you guys this, but if you tell anybody else, I have to kill you. but he had this wonderful, I think it's a 1942 M37 Martin. A wonderful Brazilian rosewood. The thing was, it was like, sounded like a piano, and it played like butter. Of course, you know, David, and so what he told me was, he said, everybody that plays guitar on this album is playing that guitar, including Rob Ickes and Jerry Douglas, who put it like this, you know, put an upright on it. And anybody that played mandolin played his Crusher. He calls it Crusher. It's his old Lloyd Lohr mandolin. So no matter Carlo Alonso, any of those guys, they all played, you know, Chris Thiele, they all played that mandolin. So those two instruments is the only thing on that album. And I said, well, that's pretty awesome. So he said, come on in. I said, so what song is it? He goes, hey man, I don't care. I went, because all the way up there, I'm telling myself, okay, play in time, play melody, play in the groove, don't try to do more than you need to, you know, be sensible, be you, but don't be too much you. You know, everybody pay attention, you know. Right. So he says, I don't care, and I went, oh, he wants me to play a solo piece. I didn't have anything in mind. And he said, don't worry, man, we'll figure it out. So he sits me in the chair, and he's going to get tone. So in the studio, some of you know, maybe you don't, you go and sit in the chair where you're going to be recording, and the engineer sets mics up, and they get the headphones for you and all this stuff, right? Then they go in there and you play some things, and they figure out where the guitars sound, what it sounds like, and if they need to move mics and all this. So I'm sitting in there and I'm playing this guitar, and I'm loving playing this guitar. And I'm playing and I'm playing and I'm playing, and I'm going, man, he's still getting tones? And so I didn't know what else he was doing. And my mind was wondering about what he might be doing. But next thing I know, I'm going, what do you think, Dad? He goes, come on in, man. So I'm thinking, okay, that's weird. Put the guitar down, go in there. He's recorded a whole reel-to-reel of me noodling.
Oh, wow.
I'm just in there goofing around. While I was sitting there, I kind of wrote a new song for him. And I never have gotten that song. I mean, I told him later, I said, man, I kind of came up with a melody in there I want to dedicate to you. He said, okay, so I've never gotten it. But anyway, I go in there, and he's recorded all that. So he says, man, you did some great stuff. And of course, he's patting me on the back, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead. What, you want to hit me again on the back? That's good. But, so he plays me Rubens Train. He goes, this is what I think is good right here. He said, if you don't mind, let's just listen to this. I'm sitting there going, oh, this is going to suck. You know, because I didn't even know he was recording. It was decent, and it was better than I thought it was going to be. And so he said, so I want to put on another reel and go back in there and play some more. So I went in there and did a whole nother reel-to-reel 2-inch tape. It's like 15, 20 minutes worth of noodling. And I did a bunch of different things. And he says, yeah, he said, all that's good. I'm going to keep all that. But he said, I want to keep Rubens Train. I said, okay. All right. So it's on the Tone Poets? Is it Tone Poets album?
Poems.
Tone
I
Poems.
have it.
You do it? Well, I do too, but there's Tone Poets and there's Tone Poems, right? So one of them is everybody's playing different instruments. And the other one is everybody's playing the same instrument.
That's the one I have.
That's the one you have. It's Tone Poets, Poems.
Poems.
Okay, Tone Poems, that's what she said. And so but I didn't sing it. It's just instrumental. And that really means a lot that David asked me to come be part of that, you know.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I don't know why I went there. Oh, because,
Go ahead.
no, what would you say?
Well, I was just gonna interject that morphed into the David Grisman Jazz Trio.
Folks, that's true, yeah, you did.
That is 3 people. That is David Grisman, that is David Grisman's son,
Sam.
and Jim Hurst.
Wow.
Pick it up. The David Grisman Jazz Trio.
That was fun.
Played for Trisha Yearwood for years. He's a real deal.
I could do, she's in love with the boy. Thank you, man. Thank you. That was a fun doing that. So David, actually, that was part of it. That was the start of it. But then I performed solo at this depot from what used to be a train depot in Petaluma. That's now like this art center. And they're doing concerts and art exhibits and stuff, and it's not trains. They moved the train station somewhere else. Anyway, so I was playing there. Next thing I know, I look out in the audience, and there sits David and his wife sitting here. I'm like, man, David's here. And after that, I played a song called "Mary of the Wild Moor," my version, and he comes backstage like just another art room back here, and he's got tears coming down his cheeks, and he says, "Hey man," I said, what's going on, David? You know, and he goes, "Man, you made me crying out there like a baby." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because Mary of the Wild Moor." He said, "That's the saddest song ever, and you do it so great." And I'm just like, wow, this is a couple times with the David guy. So he said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" He brought it, he said, "I got my mandolin." So we played a couple songs there that night. But he said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "Well, Judy and I, my wife was out there, my ex-wife, we're out there." And he says, "We want to take you to dinner, Tracy and I." I said, "Okay." So we went to dinner. He said, "Man," he said, "I enjoyed the show. It's fun picking with you, but I gotta ask you a question." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I want to do a recording with my son." And he said, "And I want to get you to play with us. I want you to record with us." And I'm like, wow. I said, "Let me think." Yes. And that was fun. We went out there and spent. You remember the tsunami from Fukushima? It came over here, well, not here, but maybe it did up here too. But down south, you know, in California, Santa Cruz, and I think maybe Mendocino or somewhere. The water did some damages at the docks and stuff. Judy and I had gotten done recording in the studio, or I did, she was with me. So we left David and said sayonara. We drove over by Point Reyes. And we're Port Reyes. We're standing there looking at the ocean, and my brother calls me. I didn't mean to be like an orator today, but my wife and I are sitting there looking out underneath the trees. What kind of trees are those, by the way?
Eucalyptus.
Is it cypress? Eucalyptus? They were beautiful. They smelled great in the ocean. And of course, the ocean's down here, right? And I'm looking out over this, and we're just standing there holding hands. It's like, how beautiful. And we just got done recording with David Grisman. I'm like, yes! You know? My brother calls me. He goes, "Hey, man, where you at?" And he sounds concerned. I said, "Man, it ain't none of your business." You know? You read how you do. And he goes, "No, man, where are you?" I said, "I'm standing here looking at the ocean." He said, "Get away from there."
Tsunami.
Because I hadn't heard anything. He goes, I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Man, there's a tsunami headed toward the West Coast because of what Heck told me all the story." And so I'm thinking, well, I guess you're serious. He said, "Yeah, man, come on, you got to get away." And I said, "I'm 100 feet from the water." He says, "It don't matter, dude, you got to go." And he was right. I mean, if you look at the film, the footage from Fukushima, that is awful. And I don't think what happened to the West Coast would have gotten up to Port Reyes, right? But once he told me, we took off toward Napa. I wanted some more wine anyway.
That's right, go to the wine country.
Remember when, I'm sure you do, 2017, when all those fires was happening in the Northwest up here?
Yeah,
Came from British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, Idaho. I don't know if it ever reached California, did it? Did it? Well, I'm playing Windlock Festival that weekend. Marv Soboleski hired me to come out there and do solo concerts and a guitar workshop or two. And so we're flying in, and as a pilot says, "Okay, look off the right side of the aircraft. You see all that up there that looks like fog? That's not fog, that's smoke." That was the first thing. I already knew that the fires were out here, but I didn't realize the scope. When you're in Nashville, you hear all these stories, but you don't know until you know. And then the same thing for here, when we had the floods in Tennessee, you don't know until you know, right? So it was really awful. We landed in Portland and it was like really hot. I think it was over 100 that day. I got a rental car, drove up to Winlock, and what hit me was the devastation that people are having to deal with, in British Columbia and all up in here, right? And it probably won't be the last time that anybody up in here is having to deal with a disaster. Sure, it wasn't the first time, but it seemed ginormous in scope to me. And my heart was breaking for everybody. And I'm thinking to myself, in Tennessee, we have no idea about this. So I go to bed, and the next day is my first day at the festival. I go over there, and I get up in the morning, and there's ash. I can see ash laying around, and it wasn't from here, from Winlock. It was from places north, and it carried on the wind. The smoke was there. I go to the fairground, to the site where the Winlock Festival was, and the big trees kind of filtered all that. So you couldn't really smell smoke, and there wasn't hardly any ash to be seen. So I did my thing. I go back to the hotel that night. The next morning I get up, and it's like nothing had happened. The day was a gorgeous day. It was pretty weather. Sun was shining. I couldn't see any ash. I didn't smell any smoke. And out of my face came, "It's a beautiful day." And so I'll do this for you guys. And I just thought, I need to write this song. So I have this little dictaphone I put in the cup holder, and I turned it on, record. And from the hotel in Winlock over to the grounds, I wrote this song. And I kind of tweaked on it after I got home. I hope you like it. You can help me sing it if you want to. What's the name of this? It's a beautiful day, such a beautiful day. And I'm so happy to be feeling this way. Stepping lightly on my way. Taking a pause just because it's a beautiful day. I'm out here walking in the weather. Raindrops are bouncing off my shoes. I didn't bring my old umbrella, but I don't care, I'm dancing away the blues. It's a beautiful day, such a beautiful day. I'm so happy to be feeling this way. Stepping lightly on my way. Taking a pause just because it's a beautiful day. There are times I feel sad and lonesome. We've all been there time after time. The crack of dawn starts me on a new song. Next thing you know, I'm singing, feeling fine. It's a beautiful day, such a beautiful day. And I'm so happy to be feeling this way. Stepping lightly on my way. Taking a pause just because it's a beautiful day. I won't let the blues make me lose my disposition. Frowns are really smiles upside down. Turning a 180 to charge into the sunshine. Want to tell the world exactly what I found. An attitude adjustment so profound is what I found. It's a beautiful day, such a beautiful day. I'm so happy to be feeling this way. Taking lightly on my way. Taking a pause just because it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful, want to sing with me? Sure. It's a beautiful day, there you go. It's a beautiful day. And I'm so happy to be feeling this way. Stepping lightly on my way. Taking a pause just because it's a beautiful day. I'm gonna do a couple of tags. Taking a pause just because it's a beautiful day. On this one. Taking a pause just because it's a beautiful day. Such a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. pastor of my church wrote, and I'll do this for you, Lee. I'm not going to preach to you, but I'm a Baptist, but I come in peace. But the pastor of the church who was preaching during the revival when I got saved, when I accepted Jesus, he wrote this song when he was flat on his back having back surgery back in the 60s when it was a guess as to whether you're going to be able to walk again. So he wrote this song while he was there. I was alone in Sin's dark valley. I had no hope, no peace within. I didn't know God's love could mean so much to me. Then one day I felt that heavenly visitation. Now I know down in my heart He'll ever be. I'm so glad that He found me and brought me out of Sin's dark valley. With tender hands He lifted me from up above, and He gave me a mansion so that I could live forever. Now I know I couldn't do without His love. So many times the devil tempts me, and he says I can't go on. There's no use, I can't reach that home above. Then I go back to the time when Jesus found me, and He placed down in my heart His perfect love. I'm so glad that He found me and brought me out of Sin's dark valley. With tender hands He lifted me from up above, and He gave me a mansion so that I could live forever. Now I know I couldn't do without His love. Yes, I know I couldn't do without His love.
We have a new fan.
All right, Joe Ross over here asked me to do a fiddle tune. I don't do any fiddle tunes, I'm just guitar. I do some of them, but it's kind of hard to do it solo. picking tune. I put this on a recording with the trio album, JHC1. I wrote this because I teach at these camps, and sometimes like that song right there kicks my butt. I don't ever play it. But I should have picked a different one, so I'm sorry, Joe. But this one, I wrote this one to go into the books that attendees for guitar workshops come to, and they opened it up, and we were talking about tablature and notation, right? And so I have this computer program called Guitar Pro. Do you use that?
I've heard of it.
It's got a fretboard, so I can say, okay, the note's here, the note's there, and the note's here again, and then somehow or another magically appears in sheet music and tablature.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know if it's right, but that's what it looks like. So I call this Easy Does It, and I'll see if I can do it in 2 different keys. It's originally in G. What'd I do wrong?
No, an example of his virtuosity, and it's your choice. He can play 2 songs simultaneously. He can play Yankee Doodle and Dixie at the same time, and you will hear each song. I don't know if you want that or Swamp.
Well,
It blows you away.
thanks, Ross.
I will sit down and not say another word for you.
No, I said that kind of tongue in cheek, but I mean it. Thank you. That means a lot. But I'm gonna do this request first, okay? I had a request for a song that was about a young man that was a young boy, a 14-year-old kid up in Vermont, and request for this song, and it's a song I recorded on my Looking Glass CD. It's called Richmond Safford. Hello. Richmond Safford walked these fields and woods. He was a little bitty boy and the times were good. Everyone loved him, it was plain to see. He was a blessed child just meant to be. He grew tall, strong and lean, but when the heavens rumbled and the wind got mean, it spooked all the horses and the chickens ran amok. All hell came down and lightning struck. Richmond fell to the ground and lay in the middle of a field the springtime hay. His eyes glazed over and his body went slack. All hell came down in the light. His soul flew free and it didn't come back. Sorry. Richmond, oh Richmond, why did God take you now? Your mama wants you in her arms, your daddy needs you behind the plow. Richmond, oh Richmond, can you hear us cry? Upon our knees we pray for you, our eyes turned toward the sky. His mother found him when he didn't come home. She hadn't worried 'cause he tended to roam. Her cries were heard across the valley wide, and the neighbors ran straight to her side. Richmond, oh Richmond, why did God take you now? Your mama wants you in her arms, her daddy needs you behind the plow. Richmond, oh Richmond, can you hear us cry? Upon our knees we pray for you, our eyes turned toward the sky. A lonely grave tells a story now, in the fields and the brambles of a long gone town. An old headstone for all to see. Richmond Safford, he was just 14. Who asked for that song? Was it you? One of you ladies asked for it. You did. Okay. That's a great song, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a true story. The guy that wrote it, his mom told him the story about Richmond Safford. She comes from Vermont. So he went up there and he found the grave and wrote the song after he went up there and found the grave. Songwriters, they do that. I make songs up. With songwriters, they get the story out of the words, you know. All right, I'm gonna have some fun for a minute. Then I'll get to Ross's thing. It's okay?
Fine, man. Anything.
Mustang Sally. It's okay. Yes, you better tow your Mustang down. Mustang Sally. Yes, you better slow your Mustang down. Mustang down. You've been riding all over town. Guess you better put your flat feet on the ground. Am I doing the wrong one? Well, I bought you a brand new Mustang, a 1965. But all you wanna do is ride around, Sally.
Right, Sally, right.
Mustang Sally. Guess you better slow your Mustang down. Your Mustang down. You've been riding all over town. Guess you better put your flat feet on the ground. chance to have fun. You want to have fun with me?
You bet.
I want you to make a horn sound or something. Play some notes. Sing me some notes. Yeah. Well, now one of these early mornings, hey, 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 gonna be wiping your weeping eyes. Thank you. That sounded great.
water flows.